Now is Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma. He serves on both the Homeland Security and Intelligence Committees. Senator Lankford, thanks very much for taking the time today.
Glad to be with you.
So you heard DNI Clapper today say in those hearings that there is no doubt that Russia was behind the election interference. As you know, the president-elect continues to express doubts very publicly. You're on the Intelligence Committee. Do you have any doubt that Russia perpetrated these attacks?
No, I don't have any doubt that Russia's been engaged in trying to interfere with our election, just like they've done with other countries all around the world, all around their region. They've been very engaged in this. What I would dispute, and I've heard a lot of people comment on, is that Russia was trying to hack into our voting system and actually trying to change votes. I still hear that rumor, and that's been debunked over and over again. And I don't know of anyone that actually in the intelligence community that holds to that.
No, they don't. And in fact, I should note that Director Clapper made a point of saying that today. No evidence of hacking of voting systems, but right, of access to emails, in effect an information op. I wonder if I could ask you this, and I know that this gets into the classified arena, but can you describe in general terms the evidence that exists pointing the finger specifically at Russian senior leaders?
No, I can't actually, because that does get into classified things. This is one of the things that President Obama brought up 3 weeks ago when he said when he asked for this report and for the research around it, the American people are going to be dissatisfied with it because we're not going to reveal sources and methods of how we know things, because that provides a greater vulnerability in the days ahead. Now, the administration spent the last couple of weeks trying to go through all this to determine what can be declassified in the next week. They're going to try to release as much as they possibly can. I know DNI Clapper today said they're going to push the envelope on trying to release as much as they possibly can. That's a positive thing, but at the end of the day, we have got to protect sources and methods.
The trouble is, you've heard the president-elect, in effect, use that, and some of his supporters to say, where's the evidence? They won't show the evidence. We won't believe it until we see the evidence. But as you note, this gets into sources and methods, the most sensitive intelligence here. Donald Trump is going to be briefed himself on this tomorrow. If he does not accept that assessment after this final briefing, will you and other Republicans hold him to account on this?
So in his own administration, Mike Pompeo, the new leader of the CIA, as he is approved in the days ahead, and multiple other individuals, Dan Coates, will be able to sit down, to walk through and have his trusted inner circle and to be able to actually give that counsel to him. We won't have to do that. Here's the big issue, though, and I think it's a difference that a lot of people are missing. We've talked about sanctions, we've talked about Russian engagement, but when Donald Trump keeps identifying, it's very hard to track hacking to an individual person. He is correct on that. That's why the FBI has not filed criminal charges on anyone and has not tried to actually nail it to a person, because we can't be that specific.
But they have, I mean, to be fair, they've tracked it to a country, and that seems to be the important issue here.
That's correct.
Your colleague, Senator Graham, today, he raised again the idea of more severe sanctions against Russia. I know that you supported the president's sanctions and have expressed possible interest in tougher sanctions. The trouble is, our president-elect doesn't even buy the premise, right, that Russia is behind these attacks. If you come with a bill presenting sanctions against Russia and President Trump vetoes that bill, will you vote to override that veto?
Yeah, that's speculation at this point. I would tell you we are going to continue to press for real sanctions. My concern with President Obama's sanctions is that they're very small. He's basically sanctioning the Russian intelligence operation and some of the leadership of the Russian intel organizations. Those aren't real sanctions to be able to put in place. Those are already individuals that we know mean to do harm to the United States. He also stated that these sanctions were put in place not only for the cyber attacks, but for one of our American diplomats that was assaulted in Moscow 6 months ago. And so we had this long 6-month delay that many of us have tried to say, why don't we get a response? And I would tell you, those of us in the Intel Committee and those of us that are in the Intel community have for years tried to press this administration to Senator, have a cyber doctrine.
I understand that criticism.
Later, they don't have that.
I understand that criticism, and frankly, I've heard that from Democrats as well. But the fact is, let's look forward to this new president, because what we're setting up here for is a conflict with his own party over this key issue of what you and others have called a key issue of national security. How do you go about rectifying that?
Well, I would say the first thing is let him become president of the United States and to get a full explanation with his own intel team and to be able to sit down and do it. We have men and women serving around the world that are in our intel community that are very sharp, very smart people that do a terrific job and provide American safety every single day. They will never be recognized like many other people that serve our government because they are not seen by many Americans, but they do an incredible job. Allow those individuals to be able to sit down with President Trump when he's president rather than president-elect, and we'll see how this changes. courageous.
Yep, those stars on the wall at CIA headquarters for CIA agents that have lost their lives.